we're doing it. Q&A today. Got a lot of questions. If you want to know where I got these shades, Amazon link in description. I just want to mention it randomly because they're just as good as my Ray-Bans and they're polarized and they're like 25 bucks or something. Bought 2 pair so I can have them in multiple places. Life's just better since I bought these glasses. Like I would buy $120 glasses twice a year and I'd cry both times. And now I save myself crying 2 times a year. So if you want to do that. All right, first question. Let me pull one up. What do you think about the 2022 WRX and will you be buying one? Really would love to buy one. Like right now, if I was just an idiot with my money, like I have tendencies to act like, but I have a smart business partner now who is financially literate and he helps me make smart decisions. And as much as I could totally go and finance one and just do the normal shindig, not a good idea. Plus, I learned from the Bronco that it's best to, in my type of content, to wait until my nose is itching, bro. You know when your nose is stuck itching to nothing there? It's the worst. It's 9:24 a.m. headed home from the gym. Apple Watch is dead. I'm triggered. First time it's died in the middle of the day. These things need better batteries. Me and Kyler have gotten super into pickleball. Kyler, you better go get some lessons from Henry or something. Henry's a trainer, pickleball trainer at the gym. Yeah, we have pickleball courts at our gym and trainers on staff. It's no joke. Neighbor Mike, if you're watching this, I'm coming for you. But it's what I was saying was it's best to wait until there's a bunch of parts on the market, then make the video. So give it another 6 to 12 months and then go get one and do it right and have some fun. I like Supras in general, so it's just kind of a little bit of a weak spot. So yeah, totally. Why didn't you do a car meet in California? I'm assuming when I was posting on my story about picking up the Supra, it was just way more hectic than I thought. And I thought me and Justin, editor Justin, were gonna be by ourselves and we met up with some good friends. And it was a good idea in theory, but practically speaking, it would have been a terrible idea. I would love to have met you and seen you, but it didn't work out. New England Pete, love the vids, love the attitude. That's another question. Will I get a bike? Absolutely. I have dirt bikes, but will I get a motorcycle? At some point soon. I want to wait probably until Parker's old enough to get them, and then we'll ride together only at smart times of the day in full leather chaps and do it right. Is that what they're called? But building a Golf R, back to New England Pete. Yes, the Mark 8, I really like them in white. I really like them. So it's a matter of time until it makes sense. Then we'll do it. Then I'm gonna call the homies at Unitronics. Like, all the parts. It's gonna go super fast. What do I like to do to relax or take a break? I don't like either of those words. I hate taking breaks. I hate relaxing. My mind just goes at 10,000 RPM on anti-lag, and I just don't do well with that. But what I did get into is gym. Guns out, baby. I'm getting them gains. We're about to smash some protein right now together. Getting them greens in. My gut health is feeling better. So I've been kind of taking out my free time and force myself to get into fitness. And then Kyler, I go to the gym with every day, most days. Got into pickleball. So I feel like that's kind of the answer to that. I try and watch movies lately with my girlfriend because I feel like I'm definitely, when I'm waking up this early in the morning, which is not like myself, that can be another time. But when I'm waking up this early, I find myself just super lazy at like 9 p.m. I'm like, I can watch a movie for an hour before bed. I just scroll through all the streaming services, and the only thing I can bear to watch is like comedy from 2000 to 2010, and I've seen all those. So I've been struggling to kind of relax. And then working on cars in the garage and stuff is like what I do here, but not as much lately. We're just building Carmaspeed and stuff, so I just say the gym, and I just clean up the garage and I'm chilling to which we're gonna do here in a second. Clean up, maintain the spaces. My brother had a kid, my nephew. I definitely find myself when I have spare time going and hanging out with him. He's funny and we have a good time. And he calls me Tem, and I like that. Jeebs. Yeah, I gotta ask that question. What is the ETA on the STI build? We're gonna be cleaning this disaster I made here in a second, but we need the tripod. But the ETA on that, best answer is kind of whatever I feel like. I've got the proper help. Supra is definitely a distraction in the right ways, but we're kind of on the home stretch. So I think if I focus, a couple months we'll be driving it, maybe less. We'll see. What's something you would tell someone to help motivate them to chase their dreams? Love that question. My 26-year-old self would say, hold on. Alright, I've used shaker cups my whole life. The Healer Mix ones are way better. I have it linked in the description on Amazon if you want to get one. It was totally worth the money. I bought it myself. And then right now I'm doing this. I bought it on Amazon too. Love this. I have it once a day, if not twice. I gave this a rip. I know it doesn't, like, I shouldn't be buying stuff like this. Like, it just doesn't, you go to this. Devin, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. Devin's a health nut and he gives me a lot of good advice, but I know this is not on his agenda of what he wishes I would be taking. It's banana split Dippin' Dots though. That's one of my favorite treats like ever, so I had to give it a shot. Tastes just like it, but it's got a wicked aftertaste, totally disappointing. This is how you waste 60 bucks. I might push through and finish it just cause, but not today. But what I would say is chasing your dreams. I've always, my whole life, been in a rush. I like to go fast. My friends I grew up with like to go fast, rush everything, be good, like be the best, but rush everything. But like now that I'm older, I understand like the value in chasing what I chase, like chasing your dream early. Like those first couple years set the pace and the tone of like my day-to-day life, like what you're witnessing right now. Like don't have to be anywhere, do anything. Your dreams might not be to turn your hobby into your full-time job like me. Dreams can be anything, right? But that early grind is what makes all the difference in your reality years later. So you just have to go, give yourself 10 years. Like, I remember when I started my channel, I was like, hopefully in like a year, I can just have like a full-time income off this thing. And then looking back, I think it was a couple years later, it was 4 years, three or 4 years, then it was my full-time income. But like, I think I would have enjoyed it more when I was 18 if I would have said, I'm gonna give myself 10 years to figure this out. 10 years. I'm gonna work the same, but I'm gonna have the expectation of it's gonna take me I'm gonna give myself 10 years to figure this out. And then once you do that, it's like, just take the chains off and you're just like, wait, I got 10 years, boy. What that will do for you mentally chasing your dreams is make you really light on your feet and in your head, which is the most important thing in my opinion. Like, you cannot take life too seriously. You gotta ride the waves up and down, and you just gotta eat crap. You gotta work 2 jobs, 3 jobs, work on the side, set up 60 different Shopify stores and try Amazon FBA and watch every YouTube tutorial about how to do who knows what. And you fail enough times, you learn something, and the next thing you know, things start to work. What I would say from there is, what I didn't do, I'm not a data person. I don't think, I just do. And then I go, I did that and it led to this. So what I would say is, early on, if you can get more calculated and analyze the data of like, this input got me this result, and you kind of like keep record of things like that a little bit more, I definitely would have saved myself some time and pain, but that wasn't my story. Now I'm like, okay, 1 million subscribers, one of the biggest parts sales websites in the game, having the most fun with my friends in the car lifestyle. I'm giving myself 10 years from now to be on top of the game. And then I'm just like, we're doing great in that regard. And then every day I get to enjoy it and embrace it. And in these next 10 years, I'm trying to be way more present and calculated and not just do things based off of what I'm into. It's like, it's about the team now a little bit, but it also is, we've organized it to where I can kind of just do what I want. And like, that's a big part of like, an important thing to me, because I like to just wake up and have my list and go about my life. Editor Justin goes about his life, Devin goes about his life, Kaylin goes about her life. And that's the extent of the team. And then we have contractors outside from there. And it's just a super freeing lifestyle, but you know, if you give yourself that time, you know, I thought about this a long time ago and then here it is. So I would think about it. I would give yourself 10 years and I would go after it every single day. Simply put, you'll figure it out. You'll 100% make it. Like, your goal. You got this. Would you ever build a Honda? Yes, and in my head I have this like vision for getting an older one and K-swapping it and doing a single turbo. Do you consider the 3.0 to be a good daily? Speaking to the B58 3-liter inline 6 turbo in the Supra and 340i and 240i and 540i and 440. Yes, extremely much so, especially if you can tune it. Definitely one of the funnest engines I've ever driven. Like, it's up there. I like these apple raspberry dried fruit bars. These are good. Did you play sports growing up? If so, which? So, baseball. From basically T-ball to 8th grade, took that pretty serious. I was a good catcher. I wanted to be a pitcher because I wanted the attention, I think. And I like to throw hard, I like to go fast, but I was a better catcher. Gave that up in 8th grade, I was just burnt out. My dad coached baseball for like 14 years straight between me and my brother, which is crazy, so I felt kind of bad because he likes it. And then going into high school, I played basketball freshman year, bench city. I suck. Basketball starts happening, it's so fast, I just panicked. Like I had no methodical part of my brain. It wasn't developed yet. I was terrible. Today, I'd like to think I'd be a lot better because I have a brain now, but I don't know if I'll ever give that a shot again. We'll see. But sophomore year through senior year, I played golf, and I was always like 2 to 3 guys away from playing and in tournaments. That made me really like decent at golf, and like I still can play pretty well for like your casual mid-20s to 30-year-olds to 40-year-olds. Let's go play a round of golf. I'm like, dope, I don't suck. So that's cool. Like, you obviously have bad days, but I don't suck, so that's nice. And golf's just fun, it's patient, it's all mental, I love that. Played soccer a little bit growing up when I was little, of course, like everyone did. And then the main thing outside of that was just motocross. Like that was what I was obsessed with growing up, was dirt bikes. We'd go racing in other cities and stuff, my dad and I was never super good when I was little, but I just like to go and I like to race. It was just fun. I used to get so nervous on the starting line. I would be like, why do I do this? I remember thinking online, holding the clutch in, you're like, why do I do this? I don't want to throw up right now. And I would be so nervous and I would suck. Some of my buddies were good. I just had a lot of fun. I just like motors and stuff, and now riding dirt bikes for fun in the dunes is definitely like my #1 favorite thing to do on the planet, like over cars even. So that's why you'll see the moto channel. When you go to my channel, it'll say other channels and you'll see the moto one. I definitely want to do more of that as I get older, but we're just so like lasered in on the cars grinding. But yeah, I think that's mostly most of sports. Who whooped you in pickleball? Kyler, you beat me once. I've beat you like 8 other times recently, so I don't know why you're talking. What was the one thing you hated about owning the RS? It's kind of an interesting question. I don't know. The engine is good, but it's not great. If that thing had like 60 more pounds of torque without the need of a, motor work, I feel like it'd be different. I think the thing that's hard about this car, and this is exactly what it is. The thing that's hard with this car is it was built for a purpose, and that purpose does not require very much torque. Or horsepower requires a certain amount, but not a ton. And with that in mind, to make it a street car, which it was not really intended for, and the personality was not based off being a street car. It was a car made for like rally type activity and capabilities and snow and all like types of things with all these seasons in Arizona. And then to try and make it a street car, it's gonna disappoint you, like duh. It's a great car and it didn't disappoint me. It was just that I had too high of expectations for the car for it being a street car, and it just doesn't make a good street car in my opinion. Focus ST in my opinion makes a great street car for the money, but the RS, I think to reverse this question also, like my favorite thing about it was like, it was just a nice car. It was a cool car. It looked really cool and people really, really liked it on the road. People liked to look at it. It was a nice car and it was awesome. It just doesn't really have any sort of like whoa besides how it looks, because it is what it is. Like you can make an ST fast enough to where it's kind of like, whoa, I didn't expect this, but like it looks kind of like a basic Focus still. The Focus RS is just like, dude, this thing is rad. Like there's a look at it, like. So the RS is a complicated subject for me, honestly, but it's good. Why the F you sell the RS? I thought you said it was your dream car. I hate you now. Danny Z, fellow tuber. How has YouTube been recently for you? It's chill. Learned a lot lately. It's good. It's not the heyday anymore. So you definitely have to really think hard if you want your channel to grow a lot. But I'm at peace with what I am willing and want to do on the platform as of now. I definitely am trying to find the right who's to help me take advantage of other platforms, and then that will spark new content ideas that would be fresh and stuff. So I feel like it's this question, you like have this preconceived like, what, like, I feel like people watching like, what's next? Or like, you're not doing anything crazy, or make videos to help people work on their cars. drive sales to Carmaspeed.com, reinvest that money because building a business is expensive until it gets to a place where we can start doing bigger and better cars and take more risk and just continue on learning. It affords me to learn right now more and more about cars and the business, which is the best thing I could be doing at my age, is just cranking up that knowledge meter. And that just takes time and patience. So I'm just like, it's doing that for me, serving this purpose. I think going viral on TikTok and Facebook, depending on how their ad revenue is right now, that could give you some fun money, whether that's vacations or their crazy cars, doing weird builds. Not opposed, but the mission is the mission right now, and I'm happy with it. How are you? How is your mental health doing? This is a great question. Another person asked. That second person said, I feel like this isn't asked very often. When these questions were coming in, I saw this, I was like, even myself. So I'm usually the person that asks people that question. And my friend group knows this. It's just what I find easy for me to talk about. It's important to me. It's a type of conversation I can really engage in. And so I want to challenge you to ask everyone how their mental health is doing, if the situation is right, if you're in a good space for it. It's good to get people to reflect, talk about it, become more self-aware, and, So to answer the question, how's my mental health? I work very hard at this subject, very hard. Because you have to be in the right mental space to wake up every day and work for yourself, because the time's ticking, and if you're not doing something to tee yourself up better for tomorrow, you're going to end up losing your house over your head or whatever. You can't just be off. You got to be on all the time. And to be on all the time, I'm the type of person where if I'm not mentally healthy, I don't have the ability to be on. So I protect it and I work hard at it and I fall on my face a lot, but pick myself up just as much. Sometimes it takes a long time. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, but I'm trying not to let the camera change what I would say here. I'm definitely the most aware I've ever been in my entire life of what matters, but it's something that I've been chasing for a long time, so I can just feel the compounded effort and I'm always wanting to learn. So that makes my mental health feel pretty good. Getting into fitness has helped insane. It levels me out. Like, I noticed that my swings up and down are less swingy. It's more of just ride the wave. Like, go take care of yourself, go get fit. You feel good about yourself. Bad things happen. It ain't that big a deal. I feel good. I look good. I'm eating, I'm on top of myself. We're good. I got that. We're good. And then I've been getting really involved at church lately, and that's a life changer. And the thing about that is the church is the people, and when you're surrounded by a bunch of people who want to work on their relationship with God, improve their relationship with God, work on their subconscious mind to lean on God in every situation, and as much as you think you're in control, you're not in control. God has his plans. You can go your own way. You have a free will, but it's much easier to walk with God. This part of the video makes me think of something that kind of aligns with this, and what's crazy to think about is God has a plan. If you walk with him, he'll show you that plan. He'll make it easy for you. The rules are about protecting you basically from things that the devil can take advantage from you on this earth, because it's not a perfect place. And the thing you can think about is, like, imagine getting to the gates of heaven, quote unquote, and God's like, he's like, this is who you could have been if you followed me and trusted me, and this is who you were based off your own free will and intuition. You could have been this, but you were this. Like, that is so scary to think about. That is so scary. So just challenging myself to lean into God more and more, to just find my way and walk along his path, because everything that led up to this point, it's been very obvious, and I've leaned on and been on my knees praying for certain things, and that's how I got a job, and I moved here with another YouTuber, and then learned a bunch, and then I became my own content creator, and So I felt God showing me the path a ton in my life. But there's this level of complacency that snuck up on me. I have a vision. We know where we're going. We're doing my own thing. I work for myself now. I have a team. I have a business partner. It's like you get caught up so easy. You're like, I'm comfy. I don't want to be comfy. That's scary. So it's super important. I'm just tripling down. God, what do you want me to be doing? You got me this far. Now I'm catching myself getting a little bit complacent. Let's rock. Chapter 2. A church I'm going to, which if you're in Gilbert, Queen Creek, Phoenix area, you want to know, just comment down below. I'll comment what church I go to, and you can show up and check it out if you want, because I really like it. And I feel like if you vibe with me, you would definitely like it. But getting involved in the community and like going to church is one thing, but once, you know, you tithe every month, which is difficult even to this day, but every time I tithe and I trust God with my money, he always just like takes care of me every single time. And I've had waves through my life where I've been super good at tithing, super bad, super stressed out on money, super not stressed. And there's a definite correlation to, it's very apparent when I'm trusting God with my money. And then I just got involved with serving in the youth ministry, the high schoolers. I like high schoolers. I'm just like a high schooler, like in my brain forever. So it's easy for me to relate to them. And I had a really good high school experience. So I like to be around them and, you know, kind of just be a positive energy around the high school thing. And so I have a small group of boys, and that's definitely changed my life, and they changed my life, and working on getting a small group together for some adults and some other couples and stuff, and just going deeper on the word and getting involved with community and those and all the people on the same mission. It's definitely shaping my mental health to be like the best it's ever been, like the least stressed I've ever been. And that's been like an absolute game changer. I've been a believer my whole life. It wasn't until I was 18 it really clicked, where I was like, oh, it's about having a relationship with God, not following a bunch of rules. And then once I started leaning into my relationship with God, that's when crazy things started to happen in my life, which how I ended up in Phoenix, meeting my old boss Dawson, and then going full time with my channel. And God's been working in my life for a very long time, but I can tell that my effort to get more involved with the community at church and serving and giving my time and making sure, giving my money and giving my subconscious mind and looking for areas of God, where can you use me to impact other people around me, instead of me just trying to decide, oh, I could probably bring value here, bring value there, or do this to set us up for it. So it's like, God, what do you want me to do? Who do you want me to talk to? Who do you want me to tell, you know, ask them how their day is doing? Who do you want me to look forward to give a hug to? So I'm a hugger. Just operating from that state, God is definitely moving in my life right now a lot. That brings a lot of peace to business, family, all the above, a ton. The other part of my brain that's big is just like the business side, and like my business partner Devin, who runs everything with me, like totally changed my life. And Devin, if you might be watching this right now, like I literally told my girlfriend last night, she was asking me some questions about how the business works in certain areas, and I was like talking about all the things that Devin did, and I was like, I don't know what I would do without that guy. I'm like, I don't tell him enough that I appreciate him and I love him, because we both never thought we would like do a joint venture on a business. Like we both thought we would just own businesses in our lives. And then once we linked up, we were like, had so much crossover, let's do it. And that relationship has been huge for my mental health, because Devin can focus on the things that I'm not necessarily good at. I can focus on things he doesn't necessarily want to spend time on. And it just makes our days in reality better, like a lot. And it just lets you focus on what you're good at. And the more you can double down on what you're good at and leave that time open for recharging or thinking creatively or what's next or whatever, it just leads to a better place. And I think when you're hearing me say this, it's just, you're kind of thinking like, I would assume you'd be thinking, how could I work and put, if you feel like there's a lack of mental health, how can you put in work to get to a better place mentally? You have to just treat it like a job, like a chore, you know? If you feel like you're thinking about things every day, when you just sit still and you get off TikTok or Instagram or whatever, and you sit still on a couch and then pay attention what goes through your brain. That will tell you a lot about where you're at mentally. And I make sure that I'm good, I'm on top of things, you know, my head doesn't go anywhere it shouldn't, and I feel good. It's taken a lot of work to get here, but like in the past, it'll be like, I'm thinking about work way too much. I'm thinking about negative stuff. I'm thinking about drama. I'm thinking, I'm like, you know, okay, let's go on. It's like, why am I doing that? So, I mean, you gotta start reprogramming yourself. Set the focus modes on your phone, who can get a hold of you at certain times, cut out certain people in your life, limit exposure to certain people in your life, steer conversations in different ways. Just because a thought comes into your head doesn't mean you need to talk about it with the person in front of you. If it's slightly negative, that will lead them to think of something negative, and then you start to just kind of backtrack and undo some of those bad habits like I've done in the past. Like that's helped me to like reframe my reality to a point where you can build a lot of momentum. And now it's just to a place where now it's a game of kind of protecting that. So I'm a big mental health person, if you can't tell. So if you have more questions about this, drop them below. I'm going to stop ranting here about it, but I appreciate you two of you guys asking. That means a lot to me. Thank you. What car are you dying to build? Oof. I'm just Probably the 22B. It's so sad that it's so stupid that I say that, but like, I know where I want that car to be, and I know what's needed to get it to that level of detail, and it's uncharted territory for me, and that's why I feel like I haven't even like, it almost stops me from making progress because I sit there and stress about it. I'm like, I know when I get it all together, I'm gonna look at it and be like, could be better. And I know the type of work it's gonna take to undo some things and redo it. I'm like, oh, dude, it's so exhausting. I know it's gonna be worth it, but hey, 10 years, I'll get it done. Not 10 years to finish the car, but all these goals that I have of late. So I'm like, okay, let's just make progress over the next few months. Let's get it together. And then throughout next year, I can redo a lot of the detail work while I'm driving it and working out the kinks. So I'm gonna be careful with that question. And that's definitely my answer right now. I can't really think about anything else. I've got my hands in way too many things. What do you recommend to upgrade to after a Focus ST? I think you would really enjoy a really clean 370Z. You need some rear wheel drive in your life. You don't have to make it loud. Just go drive. Go drive, rear wheel drive, go slide around, get a lot of traction, cornering, set it up really nice. You know, 370Z might not be the top of mind, but from solely a driving perspective, for the money, I think you would really have a lot of fun. What's more fun, Focus RS or RS3? Daily RS3. If you want a hoon, RS. But overall, because most people daily drive these cars, probably RS3. How can I get a Golf R? It would be easy. Work hard, save money, save $15,000, put $15K down on a nice Golf R and have a $200 to $300 payment max a month for 5 years. There you go. If you can't save 15 grand at least once in your lifetime, you're not working hard enough. If you have kids, family, and other responsibilities that cost money like other human beings, understandably so. If you're single or just dating and you work full time and you're just watching movies at night and all that type of stuff just whenever you want or scrolling TikTok every day, like, come on. You don't want that Golf R. You don't. You don't want it. I'm telling you right now. So if you want it, it's not that hard to save up 15 grand. Give yourself a year and a half, 2 years. Is 15 grand really that hard? If that stings, if that's hard to hear, like, oh, dude, learn a skill. Learn a skill. It blows my mind how many people out there in business are so bad at literally one thing, communication. There's so many contracted things I want to hire people for, and every freaking week it's something I'll post, whether it's on Upwork or Fiverr or in person. It's just the communication so bad. I'm like, I don't want to work with you. And then it's like there's this guy or a lady or someone that is amazing at communicating and they're half as good as the other person. I'll hire them every single time. Being good at communicating is easy. Doing business when you're good at communicating, it's pretty straightforward. So making an extra 15K in 2 years, give yourself that amount of time, sure, in this economy, totally. 2-3 years, sure. If you want it that bad, you can do it. With literally like one skill, like video editing, or filming, or photography, or welding, or cleaning, or barbecue cleaning, detailing. It's literally all excuses. When will you get a 350Z again? When I get a 370Z and we put a centrifugal supercharger on it from Z1 Motorsports. That's when. Hopefully in the next year. I know Parker wants to get a 370Z, so I definitely want to join him on that journey. When is the Silverado going to make a comeback? I don't know. Coldest AC in the game, works great right now, doesn't cause me any problems. Drive it every single day. I want to get the full Dirt King setup. If you go on the website and look how much that long travel kit is, it's a little bit of money, probably about as much money as I could buy a car for, so I got to make sure I have a surplus of money when that comes around. So I just got to keep building the business, and when we get some excess cash, I will definitely be bringing the Silverado content back. Otherwise, it's not really worth doing anything right now. How do you afford it all? Surely YouTube doesn't pay 100% of it. I think you can underestimate how much you can make on YouTube, but you can also overestimate just as easily depending on what the content is. YouTube pays for basically everything, but you got to think all of this stuff is a tax write-off. I get help with a lot of parts from companies, not all of them, well, not as nearly as much as I wish, but that definitely makes a big difference. Every dollar counts. I'll tell you this, surely can't be affording it all, but am I saving a lot of money right now? No. Reinvesting literally basically 98% of it. I live my life on the edge because I'm in my 20s. Just gotta, scared money don't make money. So if you see like, you know, people like myself doing stuff and you're like, how do they afford that? It's like, when most people save half their money, people like myself don't. Like, there's only one way you're gonna get ahead, and that's by taking some risk. So I feel like that's definitely like a big part of it. Like, most people my age are saving money, buying houses, all stuff. I'm like, I literally rent this house, works great. It's not super expensive. It's a great deal. It allows me to invest all the rest of my money into my business. And that business is going to serve me for as long as I own it, the rest of my life, or if we sell it one day, I don't know. So I don't really want to speak to specifics because I don't think that's the right thing to do, but you can overestimate, you can underestimate, you can also not realize that you can also be like full sending at any given moment. And when you're full sending and you're working things financially and you're working out deals and stuff like that and pushing by, you can get your money to go a long ways and work out some deals and negotiate some abnormal creative finance type situations. You'd be surprised what you can make happen. Money is a tool. It's not like anything more than that. If it gets anything more than that, you're kind of thinking about it in the wrong way, in my opinion. You're working for the money. You're not using the money to work for you. So it's important that you use the money to work for you. What is your opinion on E36s, and would you ever buy one and build one? I don't really think they're like anything special. I'm sure I'll get to a point where I can really dive into that purist BMW E36 build, but not really interested anytime soon. Dream build? 991 or 992 GT3 RS. I just like to drive. That would be a fun car. But I don't know, that's a basic answer. I don't know, I just want to build a lot of cars. I don't really like get too caught up in like, oh, there's only one. Any recommendations for convincing my mom to let me modify my car? Yeah. Figure out what she's worried about and then try and figure out what you can do that wouldn't stress her out. So she's like, well, I just don't want you to break it. Bring to her evidence. Hey, I watched this video. Hey, I know these parts. I know for sure that this isn't anything that's gonna be damaging. And try and just understand your mom. Take a step back from like what you want. Just understand her, try and speak to her pain points, and then come to her with evidence that you're educated, you know what you want to do, and it's a good idea. And then try and keep it simple, so if she's like, something bad were to happen or something, she changed her mind, you could just put it back to stock and then let her know that that's an option. You probably have some pretty good luck. But if it's like something crazy, like a turbo swap or something, and your mom already is on the like fence, like, you just gotta get out of mom's, you know, you're gonna have to wait till you're 18 and move out and then go do this stuff. When are you having a Carmaspeed meet cruise with the locals or cruise with the locals? Some point, someday. I've got a lot on my plate right now, and every time I go to like think about doing that, I get a little queasy. I'm like, if something were to happen or it was a larger group than I expected or something bad happened, it would clog my mind the next couple weeks because I felt like it was something I started, and I just don't have the bandwidth or the risk tolerance right now to be able to like mentally handle that, because I get very it clogs my mind. So when I drive with people I know that whatever happens is on them, but if I were to just like host something and something bad happened to someone, that would wreck me. Like I wouldn't, that would not be good. And I'm in a place where I can't really like, it just adds stress, honestly. And I know that I'll be in a place at some point where I can really like give it my best shot and host a cruise or whatever, and it be well thought out and smart and everyone's on the same page, and I just don't have the bandwidth to do what's necessary to make sure that that goes that way. Kind of a dumb answer in my opinion, but it could just be thrown together last minute and done and everything would probably be fine. But I don't know. When the boys get together and start driving kind of rowdy, myself included, you kind of start to do things that are not legal and can cause damage, but it's very fun. So that's what kind of scares me. What's been your favorite car to build? I think the most enjoyable to work on as far as like wrenching processes. The GTI is super simple. You got a lot out of it. You can do a lot to it. I don't know, I've enjoyed them all individually. I've learned a lot from all of them. I don't think any particular one like overly stands out, because like as much as I liked the GTI, I hated it in a lot of ways, wrenching on it. So it's like every car had such brutal pros and cons when you got into the thick of it, and like you really remembered the bad things and the good things. It's hard to pick one. I'm really enjoying the Supra like a lot though right now. It's a beautiful day. AZ weather's finally good. It's the best. Absolutely destroyed this side of the garage. It's like back to back to back to back to back projects. Look at this. This is just like a freaking pig lives in here. What are you doing? It's all right. I'll clean it up right now and it'll be A1. This means I got a lot done. If your area's too clean, you don't get anything done. My area goes to super clean to super dirty, so I care about it and get a lot done. That's important. Drop some wisdom on how you got started on YouTube. How did you find your brand? I talked to the pickleball trainer guy at the gym today, and he has like a YouTube channel, and we were talking about it, and he was just like talking about starting, and I was like, look, this is all it is. And this is solely my take. There's many ways to go about this. My take is, for someone like myself, the sauce is, I'm like, so you have Henry, the pickleball coach. We're gonna use him as the example. I'm like, Henry, I saw the videos he was making. They weren't like this, and this is like type of videos I think he was wanting to make. So I was like, here's how you can operate. Is someone walks in that has no idea how to play pickleball, and I say, what's the first thing you would tell him? You would start talking about grip. You would start talking about the rules of the game. I'm like, make content on those first questions, and then every step of the way, treat your channel as like a person that's never played before. And next thing you know, you'll have trained thousands of people to your level of skill. They'll adore you forever, and then they'll start to follow your journey and care because you brought them a lot of value. It's as simple as that. I was just documenting how I was learning to work on cars since the get-go. And so now we're here, and we have a long way to go to get to where my goals are. So the thing though that I definitely wish I was better at, even to this day, I need to put more effort into, and I've been putting more effort in ways but not fully following through, is some of the best creators are really good at writing. So making time for it specifically. So it's like, you have all these ideas, but you do your normal episodes and it's like, okay, how can I reach a broader audience? How can I reach this? It's like, what are some other common questions? What are 7 things that would make this better or whatever? And come up with those ideas, then sit down, focus, laser in, and write a really good set of information that you can run through, or a story, and then follow through and create that and put it out. You get good at that process, you're gonna be very, very successful as a creator. I've just more been based off of like, hey, let's take this difficult process to some and let me go through it, and then I'll simplify as I go through it, so that way it feels super approachable to you. Now I'm trying to get myself out of my comfort zone of that to sitting down, writing, and building out other stories and sets of information to share that I believe are valuable. So kind of approach it like that. Give yourself a lot of time and just do it week in and week out. You'll make it. You'll make it. If you had to buy any new 2022, 2023 car off the lot, what car would it be? Price cap is $68,950. M240, 340, or Supra. I don't know. If you're gonna spend 50, 60K, the Supra is like, it's kind of the bee's knees right now. That's all I can think of. What are some other cars that I'm not thinking of? What do you say price cap? I don't know, it'd for sure be a BMW or a Supra right now. Any other like fun cars are gonna be older than 2022, 2023, so I don't really like those questions. It kind of puts, I'm like, I like them all. I don't wanna say one and then be held to that. How do you fund all your builds, especially in the beginning? A lot of working, a lot of saving, a lot of blowing money. I spent every single dollar, every single month. Basically the first, I'm still spending every single dollar. Before YouTube was full-time and all that, I was doing photography and video on the side. So I had my main skill, provided revenue. I did that until 3-4 years ago. So just a job. It's not like a complex answer for me. I have always had this photo video skill way before YouTube. Use that to make money, spend it all on the channel. Spend it all on the channel. Get a credit card, spend it all on the channel, and then put some on a credit card, and then make that money back, pay the credit card off, get some more cash in my pocket, spend that all, and just be calculated and figure it out. Like, gotta pull your nut, get your nuts out. What's your favorite thing about your girlfriend? I would say having someone to do life with that makes life more enjoyable. And I like how she lets me be me and cares. With girls, you're just like, just let me be a dude. Let me just act like a child. If I want to get into fast cars, let me get into fast cars. If I want to ride a dirt bike, let me ride a dirt bike. And then talk to me about it. And then I want to know what you're into. And then we just talk about our days and hang out and eat food and chill. There's nothing better than that. Simple. I think that's my answer. I'm trying to think of something granular, favorite thing. I don't know. You know when you have a best friend and you're like, I like so many things about you, I couldn't even pick one? That's it. What do you think about the Acura RSX Type S? I've never been around the old Acuras or Hondas, so I have no idea. I'd like to get into it one day. It seems like it would be somewhat of a straightforward experience and be super fun to push that car in the corners. So, I don't know. Do you wish you would have put a bigger turbo on the Focus ST? Yes, because that car would have been good with it for sure. I just didn't have the confidence or wherewithal to know to do that back then, simply put. Are there any other YouTubers you'd love to collab with? Nothing that comes off the top of my mind, because collabs are kind of like a weird thing. But one person I would like to make content with, motocross content specifically, is Alexander Vargas, Mr. TikTok boy. Alex is one of my favorite people I've ever met in the content space. He just literally like, his energy just like fills you up, and we always have like amazing conversations when we do talk on the phone. So we just live so far away from each other. But Alex, if you're watching this or someone sends this to you, I definitely want to make some moto vids together. Mustard on pizza, for real. If you could import any car in the world right now, which is it? Mustard on pizza, what's wrong with you? Import any car, Evo 5? Evo 5 or a S15. Love the Mustang build series. If you had another one, would you do anything different? I would definitely do like a Meteor wheel and tire setup. If you don't have radios on your cruises with your boys, what are you doing? That's one of the best things I've ever done. It handled really, really well, and I would like to see how good I could make it handle in general. So I'd probably go down the road of like track car, canyon, just a car you can just huck in the corners and it just grips. That would be super fun. Favorite car you've built? It's hard. I can't just pick. Like, they all have so many pros and cons. I'm a Subaru boy at heart. Like, I have 2 Subarus. I really like how analog and manual those cars are. They're all-wheel drive. Like, those are just fun cars to own and have. Like, you can really get your itch. But like, the fastest car I've ever owned that I like one of the faster cars is the Supra. Like, we're not about going fast in corners and in straights. The Supra by far. The Mustang was the most scary, but the Supra is overall better driving car. So it's just like, you just have all these conversations in GTI, Focus ST, and Mod Speed 3, and then you should like all this back and forth. I can't pick one. Are you gonna bag the Supra? Absolutely not. Coilovers. Fave car you've driven? GT3 RS with the Extreme Experience crew in the open road program. One of the best days of my life with homie Kyle, who won that contest. I wish he could have drove, but he wasn't old enough. But yeah, hopefully editor Justin can find some clips of that. That was the end of the Instagram comments. Now we're on to the YouTube comments. In what situations are lowering springs better than coilovers? Good question. I think cars with good OEM suspension setups. So like the Supra, for example, like if I didn't have connections and like a relationship with BC Racing, like I'd probably just do springs and call it a day. Like the suspension works great. It has some adjustability, and you know, in terms of the sport mode, and you can adjust the stiffness on the fly and stuff like that. So that's something where I'm like, dude, just run coils till those like struts are kind of smoked, then upgrade to some coilovers, or run springs until they're smoked and then run coilovers. So if you're not going for like a super perfectionist fitment and you just want it to handle better, just get springs and then see how you like those, and don't worry about spending $1,000. Like, you can spend a couple $100 on springs and then spend another $800 on something else on the car that will make a big difference. Is there any car you had a chance of buying but didn't end up buying and regretted that decision? If so, why? No, but the Impreza, the 2-door coupe Impreza L, I bought that. I had no money to my name. I think I paid $800 or $1,200 for it, something like that. And I literally had like $1,400 in my account. I was like, I got no content. I know that this car would do well. I know I've always wanted one of these cars, like a pipe dream car. I saw it pop up for sale, and I'm like, what am I doing? Why does this feel right? I just know I'm the type of person where like I feel things like in my gut right here that there's a right and a wrong way to do stuff, and I got that gut feeling. I was like, go buy this car, you'll figure it out. You'll have no money in your account, but you'll figure it out. So I almost skipped up on that because I was like, oh, money. It all worked out. Best risk I took, because those cars are hard to find. Are there any cars in the future that you're planning to build that you may or may not keep? Also, are there any cars that you've built that you regret selling? I feel like I've regretted a couple, and then enough time goes by and I enjoy something else like this Supra, and I'm just like, no, there's no regret. Like, there's nothing better than learning a bunch of different platforms and seeing, you know, how they change your mind as a car person and teach you new things. And, you know, that part always reminds me in hindsight not to get too emotional about things. But like, have I sold either of my Subarus or thought about it? Yes, and I'll never muster up the nuts to probably do it. So I think that tells you that. Cars that I want to do in the future. Yeah, I want to touch on all the BMWs and see what the M3, M4 is about and all that, but we'll get there. You know, those things. I want to get into Evos, totally. I need to have like extensive turbo knowledge and more knowledge of running like oil lines and AN fittings and push lock and all that stuff that I'm learning through Dawn right now with the 22B build. I know that'll compound and we'll get into some other platforms. I definitely want to build a couple different GD, you know, like 02 to 07 WRX and STIs. I want to nerd out on that a lot more. I just love those cars so much, and I want to build multiple different ones. Ones with wings, ones with not, ones for, you know, the canyon, ones for freeway racing, you know, and just kind of just really feel those cars out and learn everything I can about them, because those cars made me fall in love with cars. And I would just love to be one of those guys that when you help someone work on one of those, you know absolutely everything. Like there's nothing better than that to me. Like, it's just that car I'd love to just know everything about. And I don't have the most Subaru confidence. I have a lot, but nowhere near where I could be. So that's definitely something that's important to me. I gotta hop on a work call in the office inside, and then we'll come back to some more questions. What made you want to start vlogging, and has it helped you be able to do builds or have cars that wouldn't have previously been an option? Absolutely. Mods and Miles, worked with them on the RS3 project. Rick at Cactus Tint helps me a lot. Exchange of value with businesses. The YouTube ad revenue helps me afford car payments for like the Mustang GT. Save up some of the money by the 22B, work with companies to get parts, save up money. The money that I got from Motul, put that right into the 22B, 100% of it, to keep that project moving forward in the beginning. I think I definitely would have for sure gotten a lot of these cars, like regardless, no matter what I do, just because of being passionate about it. But the channel definitely is, I feel like attention online is, it's just like money. It just accelerates who you are and what you're into. So the channel and creating content and picking up the camera has definitely sped things up. Would you ever do a drag style truck build, like lowered beefy tires and engine upgrades to try and make it under 10 seconds on the drag strip? I think at some point definitely have to experience a drag car life. Will it be a truck? I don't know. Opinions on the new Type R. I actually saw one. I went to the local car meet for the first time in a while, and I saw one, and I kind of liked how it looked in person a lot better than photos and videos, so definitely not opposed. This is my laundry bin, post car wash. What's your prediction feeling regarding the electric car craziness happening in this country, especially in the states like California? Do you think it will hit a statewide eventually and die out, or will it become mainstream, pushing all gas-powered vehicles out of the state? Important topic to the tuner culture. I've talked to people high up in the industry, and it's like the first thing that comes to mind that I kind of like that stuck with me is the power grid will never be able to handle everyone having an electric car. Physically and structurally impossible. Like, it would have to be something else. Like like there's no shot. So that alone, and people like Toyota investing in the GR Corolla right now, and the Supra coming out with the manual version, XYZ, like I think California will be the probably first and ever state only to be all electric for in-state registered cars. I could see that happening in like 20-30 years. But you know, hybrid technology is gonna get better, and all this is like, this is what my hope is. Maybe we can reflect on this video, is that it creates a division where it's like, you're a regular person, you have regular cars. They're hybrids, they're electric, they're whatever. There's car people and enthusiasts, and it's like all these like this cool technology, and there's a lot of attention on it. There's less options coming out every year, but they're all really good options that there's passion behind to like keep the EPA and, you know, whoever's in charge of all this stuff, sometimes you question, happy, and then like us car people can just go be car people. That's all you can really hope for. But, you know, I own a 2004 Silverado with a 5.3 with 270,000 miles. I will own that thing forever because yeah. Electric cars, not the vibes, not the vibes. They're cool for like dailies, but that's about it. What or who got you into cars in the first place, and what is your favorite car you've owned so far? Okay, so I was in 8th grade. I went to Texas Roadhouse with my brother's friend, David. and him, and he had a full bolt-on. I'm pretty sure it was on ethanol, maybe, probably not. Now that I think about it, I don't think it was. But it definitely had a catback, downpipe, intercooler, front mount, pearl white, speed 3, stock OEM wheels on lowering springs, super clean setup. Never ridden in a sports car in my entire life, and in 8th grade after we got done with dinner, my brother's like, you should ride in David's car. I went and rode in David's car. He took me down the street like 0 to 80 miles an hour, and it was like, you know, blow off valve exhaust, vibration in the floor, the stiffer suspension I never really had felt. And I was like, that is the coolest thing in the entire world, and I'm hooked. And it's literally been that day since. And so that motivated me to save up $20,000 in cash doing photography and video. Hustled all the sports teams in my high school. I would come, like, my favorite thing to look back on, I'm just like, I was really getting after it, is when I did like 4 sports teams at once. I had every single person on each team, girls and boy teams, do an envelope, and they'd put anywhere between like $5 and like $25. And I had like 4 teams like all at once in like one day. I did all their photos. I came home with like the craziest stack of envelopes and like threw them on the table. And like me and my parents like went through and like sorted all the cash and the checks, and I went and deposited everything. And then I fulfilled everyone's orders. Just like stuff like that. That's how I popped out of college at 18 and bought a 2012 Mazda Speed 3 with 20K cash. And that totally was the best thing I could have ever done for myself, because I had that car, found out about YouTube. I already had all the photography and film skills, applied that, all put that together into like one thing where I was like, I could be really good at teaching. I need to learn this stuff. I need to figure out how to pay for it. And I think like a YouTube channel would be really good for me. And so I had the car already, which is like probably the hardest part, and just hit the ground running. And then here we are. That all goes back to riding in my brother's friend David's car. Never forget that day. If you were to eliminate one car model from existence, what would it be? Probably the PT Cruiser. The second half of that question was, what is your favorite car you've owned so far? I think like the thing that sticks out right now is just like, in my brain, I'm like, I love STIs, I can't live without them. And I'm gonna have to go experience some other cars, but like, I don't know if I can live without a Supra. Just like, it's a really good car. It makes me like the most uncomfortable I've been, like thinking about selling that car and like putting that money into another project for the channel. I get a little queasy thinking about it, and it feels a little not like previous cars, so maybe that means that I like it more. What's your favorite powertrain configuration from cars you've owned, driven? Inline 4 turbo, inline 6 turbo, NA V8, etc. Any plans to track the Supra? Yeah, I definitely want to track the Supra at some point this year. But favorite drivetrain configuration, like flat 4, flat 6, go to NA flat 6, turbo flat 4. And then the V8 stuff is cool, but I don't like find myself dreaming about it at night. The B58 has really opened my eyes to an inline 6 turbo, and I really am enjoying that. So that's kind of where I'm at on that. I don't feel like too defined on that question. It's too easy for me to have fun with kind of anything. That's kind of it. If you have any other questions, drop them down below. We'll do another Q&A at some point down the road, but I feel like this is a good way for us to connect, you to get to know me a little bit more besides the information on the cars, and start some conversation. I love to go deep one-on-one with people, and so maybe this will help build that rapport. So yeah, hit me with questions, whether they're surface level or deep questions, and we'll talk about it on the next one. If you like this, drop a like, drop a comment so we know to do it again. Thanks for everyone who put questions in here, and we'll see you in the next video.